anything that came with that. Hope you wasn't trying to look at the eclipse with your regular eyes, because I know some people did. Probably got a lot of eye damage today. But in any case, um, yeah, we back at it. Great weekend of sports. I was all into the women's Final Four and the national championship last night, which was incredible. The Philly girl, Dawn Staley, does it again. Philly native. Uh, she has cemented herself as one of the greatest college coaches of all time, in my opinion, women or men's. But she just got a national championship. 14.2 million viewers. That's better than some NBA games. Don't get it twisted. What's going on, Chris? Um, the type of numbers that these girls are putting up and the type of exposure that they have gotten, and validly, it's warranted. But it's off the chain. It's off the chain. What's going on, William? Um, he's saying I'm not blown away. I mean, how did they come? How did they compare to the Super Bowl numbers or even the World Cup Finals to get up to that level? Then you'll impress me. It's not that. It doesn't have to be that. That you got to look at it from the standpoint of they've never had numbers like this before, and it's because of one particular player. Very simply, the best example I will give, because I came up in the 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, a kid in the 70s, teenager in the 80s, and young adult in the 90s, having seen the rise of Jordan. So I know what it means to watch one player, and the way the coverage has expanded because of social media, because of the cable outlets in the beginning. I don't know if you were here a couple days ago, William, where I talked about um, the evolution of the social media landscape, and yeah, the Tiger Woods is a great example. I use Tiger Woods as the perfect example, and the reason why it's good for the women's game is because the women's game has never had that type of notoriety. They never had a player like Tiger Woods that would bring in other viewers that didn't necessarily care about women's basketball. Very much like Tiger Woods brought in a lot of black viewership to a lot of folks that didn't necessarily care about golf. So if you were into golf, you knew about, Calvin Pete and the very, very few black golfers that were playing at that time and earlier. So there was a very, I would say, in the, you know, in the black community, there was a very negative stereotype about golf. They just didn't want black players. You didn't see that many, and all of the stuff that would go into that. And then when you saw Tiger Woods, you saw a whole community of viewership that didn't exist before he got there. So that's a real phenomenon. I think Caitlin Clark is very similar to Tiger Woods, and I'll say it again. Um, Let me say it like this: um, Caitlin Clark, Andrew Reese, Flaw J. Johnson, Malaysia Fulwiley, Tessa Johnson, Kate Beckers, um, Audi Crooks, Isaiah James, Lauren Betts, Juju Watkins. Um, and I'm just naming players off the top of my head. And the reason why I'm doing that is because last year at this same time, I bet you I couldn't name 3 women college basketball players. 3, let alone Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Plum. Um, I can at least get into the realm of the WNBA player. And I'm saying that because when I made the decision to watch after last year's national championship game, when I made the decision to follow women's sports, This year, I'm invested in it this year, especially women's college basketball. I watched the games. I didn't even watch the men's game this year. I watched all women's basketball. So I was invested in it, which is why I can rattle off the names. And the only reason I can name those names is because I started watching Caitlin Clark, period. It wasn't because of Angel Reese. It wasn't because of Cheryl Swoops or what I saw her do in the Olympics and back in the day, and Diana Taurasi at UConn. And I've said this before. I didn't even know who Kelsey Plum was. I had saw the video of her throwing those T-shirts at the Lakers games a million times. Had no idea who she was. The only reason I found out who Kelsey Plum was because they kept talking about Caitlin Clark possibly breaking her record last year. So I was like, who is Kelsey Plum? I was like, oh, I done seen her a million times. I didn't know that was her. So my point is that Caitlin Clark is bringing in viewership that didn't exist before. And it's going to stick with her because they are going to follow her. And this class of college athletes coming into the WNBA has a chance to raise the level of income, notoriety, viewership, everything across the board that the WNBA has never seen, period. So, James, you're right. Tiger Woods, he did redefine the game, because when Tiger Woods came on the scene, that's when they started putting all the rules in, lengthening golf courses. They started doing all of that stuff because of him, to prevent him from winning so much. You're not gonna have that in the WNBA, but and you already hearing the jealousy and stuff coming from some WNBA players and just the media around it. And honestly, I'm looking at the situation like this. You got a generational talent with Caitlin Clark. And I'm talking as a player and as the visibility. Because even in my opinion, Candace Parker was probably the best WNBA player that they've had, in my opinion. There may be some better, but I don't watch it enough to even be educated on that. So I'm just going by what I know. Candace Parker came in as a freshman, as a rookie, and pretty much dominated. But even when Candace Parker did that, Candace Parker can't even touch the amount of visibility that Caitlin Clark has. And at the time Candace Parker came out, Candace Parker was at the top of the game as far as visibility. And just because the way the environment has changed, the way the game is played now, again with social media, Caitlin Clark is just on another level. As good as Candace Parker is, her visibility and her appeal was never this high, in my opinion. Never. Candace Parker put butts in seats. But what Caitlin Clark is about to do is off the charts. So, James, Diana Taurasi, she didn't have this much hype going into the WNBA. And even if she did, again, the same thing I'm saying about Candace Parker. The landscape didn't allow this much visibility. Let me say it like that. Diana Taurasi is a phenomenal player. Won the national championship, all of that kind of stuff. But she didn't even have this. Rebecca Lobo is another one. Lisa Leslie is another one. Their visibility was the highest at its time. But that time was here. The way social media works now, Caitlin Clark is way up here. And the difference is Caitlin Clark is going to bring endorsements, visibility, and money to the WNBA league, period. How the WNBA handles it is on them, because they have a dilemma on what they are going to do, because you already see people coming out. I saw the things about, like Diana Taurasi said, she might not be as, be as impactful. You get what? How did she say it? She's gonna have a little grace. Basically, what she was saying is it's gonna take her a little time to get acclimated to the league and really put her thing down in the league. And that's she's not wrong. Cheryl Swoops said the same thing. The only problem with Cheryl Swoops is Cheryl Swoops put all of that extra in it, and it made her look bad because she was quoting wrong stats, and she was and it made it look like she was throwing shade at Caitlin Clark. And she should have just left it at she might not come into the league and dominate like you think she might. That's a perfectly valid point. Cheryl Swoops put all of that extra in it. A record can't be broken if it took her 6 years to do it, and she put all that other stuff in, and that was just her being lazy and not doing her homework, and it was a bad look. And now, even with the quotes from Diana Taurasi, I don't disagree with her. However, it's not a good look because now it look like you shitting on the next girl that's coming in and trying to elevate your game. Because rest assured, if Caitlin Clark is just good in the WNBA, the revenue for the league as a whole goes up. Now, if the WNBA wants to compete with the big dogs, then they got to play the big dog games. Marketing, yes, you're going to have to play politics. Yes, you're going to have to let the rookie start. Because if you selling out arenas as the Indiana Fever because of Caitlin Clark, they're not coming to watch her sit on the bench. And I guarantee you right now, if you had 3 WNBA players, if you put them in a room, if you had a press conference and you had 3 WNBA players and you had Caitlin Clark, all the attention would be on Caitlin Clark. Guaranteed. All the attention would be on Caitlin Clark. The only one, in my opinion, who would get a lot of attention with her would be Kelsey Plum right now. And that's because I'm seeing Kelsey Plum on Pat McAfee and other shows, and Kelsey Plum is out there. That whole situation at the Lakers game was a meme. I didn't know she was throwing a t-shirt to her dad, but now everybody knows who she is. So what's going on, man? Appreciate you. Now, let me be honest with you, James. Some of the stuff that I've seen from the WNBA, it does not look good. People always want to throw Taurasi and some of the other big name stars in the league, but when you look at it as a whole in some of the games, it just didn't look like it was good basketball. Plain and simple. The same way people was looking at us when I was in the World League. As far as the football, it's got to grow on you. You got to watch it enough to say, oh, okay, some of these girls can play. Because everybody used that same clip. I don't know who the team was. I don't know when it was, but everybody uses this same about, I don't know, I want to say like 20 to 30 second video clip. And it's this team, these two teams playing, and they going back and forth, stealing the ball, missing layups, missing jump shots, and they going back and forth. And nobody's making shots. And it just looked like a haphazard, poorly coached game. But I'm like, I know these girls can play. Let me tell you something, Ja. I think they will, because you got to look at it from the standpoint now. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. So now you got the Magic and Bird factor, which started in college. Magic and Bird, Indiana State, Michigan played each other in the finals, in the NCAA finals, and Michigan State won the title. But that's what started Magic and Bird. Then they go to the Lakers and the Celtics, and that rivalry continued. And you had fans that love Larry Bird and fans that love Magic Johnson, and that was that rivalry. Now you got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Now they're gonna be on 2 separate teams, and it would behoove whoever drafts, because Caitlin Clark is going to Indiana. Whoever gets Angel Reese had better play Indiana, because that's gonna generate the most money. That is going to generate the most money. So it's a lot of, when you talk about star power, um, when you talk about star power, oh, here's what I was trying to say. So you got Caitlin Clark, Camila Cardoso, Angel Reese, and there's a couple others that are coming out, right? Now let's go forward a little bit. Hannah Stokey's going to come out. Hannah Stokey's what, 6'2", 6'3"? She keeps going on the way she's going. She's going to play in the WNBA. Then you got Kate Becker's coming out next year. She's definitely going in the WNBA. Then you got Malaysia Fulwiley, Tessa Johnson, Isaiah James. Isaiah James, I think, is a junior. So I believe she has the potential to come out next year. Juju Watkins, Tessa Johnson, and Malaysia Fulwiley. All three of them will probably go to the league if they stay healthy. They're all freshmen this year. So now you got the next crop. And don't be surprised if Juju Watkins breaks Caitlin Clark's records. So you got a good crop of athletes coming out, and Cardoso is going to end up with I saw one mock draft, somebody thought Cardoso might end up getting picked 4th. But that whole group already committed, and now you got all of these good freshmen, sophomore, juniors coming down the pipe. So, and I'm saying that because the roster and the level of talent keeps coming. So, Jason, they've been had the farm system because all of them girls can play overseas. That's the one thing. You got all them girls from Australia and Italy and Brazil and all them other girls coming from different situations. They can play all year round. That's why a lot of the girls in the WNBA go play overseas. It's a chance to make more money and then, improve your game. But right now, the women's game in college basketball in the States, we got the next 4 to 5 years in women's college basketball. You got star potential at every level. Freshmen this year, sophomores, juniors, and next year's seniors. The best thing Kate Beckers did was made the decision to come back, because I thought that they could have, Kate Becker should have, arguably should have been in that finals. But it just didn't work out for UConn. So the next group is coming. And don't get it twisted. Kate Beckers is going to ball out next year. And Dawn Staley is going to be right back in the same spot. So you got a consistent crop of new girls. I can't remember her name. Dawn Staley just signed some girl, 6'2" forward with a 5.0 GPA. The article talks about South Carolina in creating a major, like an academic program for this girl. So she would come to South Carolina. Environmental engineering or something like that. This girl is ridiculously smart. And I'm saying that to say, even Dawn Staley going undefeated this year, and she had all new starters this year. Because Tahina Powell, she was at Oregon last year. So now you got Powell and Fulwiley, and Ashlyn Watkins is only a sophomore. So she got 2 more years to go. And I am waiting to see Ashlyn Watkins get to the point where they will give her the ball down low and she can just rise up and dunk, because she can dunk. And I'm not talking about just barely getting her hand over the rim. Ashlyn Watkins can sky and throw it down with authority. She's got that type of skill. All she got to do is get a mid-range jumper, and Ashlyn Watkins is going to be ridiculous. Unstoppable. So, as somebody with 2 sisters, the reason I started following Caitlin Clark in the first place was because the Iowa coach, Lisa Bluter, started her coaching career, I believe, at Drake University. Drake University was where my older sister went. She ran track at Drake University in the early 80s. My first college experience was on campus at Drake University during the Drake relays. That's when I knew I was going to college. When I had that experience. Shout out to my boy Sean Cornish and my homegirl Jen Ruckers that was with me on the trip. My twin sister was up there. My dad rented an RV. That is a core experience in my life. Best experience, one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life was that trip my dad took us on. The men's game has become somewhat sanitized by top players leaving after their freshman year. The ladies stay all 4 years. This will increase interest. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know next year I'm going to see Malaysia Fulwiley again and Tessa Johnson again. I was unfamiliar with Tessa Johnson's game. I've been watching and touting Fulwiley all year. That girl is the bomb. She's the fastest player on the court. I don't even remember seeing Tessa Johnson. And all of a sudden, she came out of nowhere in the tournament, and she hitting shots as a freshman. Audi Crooks, Juju Watkins, Malaysia Fulwiley, and Hannah Hidalgo for Notre Dame. Hannah Hidalgo is from here in South New Jersey. Out of Haddonfield, I believe Haddonfield High School, right here in South Jersey. That's why I started following Notre Dame, because of her. Tessa Johnson was not on my radar, and this girl came out of nowhere and was playing like a vet. She was the most, you would argue that she was the most important player because she came through in the clutch in that fourth quarter in that game yesterday. Camila Cardoso, she was the best player on the court. I would argue Tessa Johnson was right there with her because she scored important buckets. Because when Caitlin Clark got hot, Tessa Johnson was coming down the court with an answer. So, but yeah, Gordy, I agree with you, man. It's become a little bit sanitized. And now I can say, Jason, I do not disagree at all. I understand Camilla because the one thing Tessa didn't do, Camilla dominated on the boards. Camilla had what? 17 rebounds? I have to look that up. She had double-digit rebounds. She had a double-double. She had 15 points and I want to say 17 boards or something goofy like that. South Carolina out-rebound Iowa 51-29. And much of that was from Camila Cardoso. So I understand her being the MVP of that game. Did she get MVP of the game or did she get most valuable player for that whole tournament? I'm a little iffy on that. I'm not sure which one it was, but I understand. Tessa Johnson was off the chain last night. She did not play like a freshman at all. And that's now, again, next year, of course, Dawn Staley being from Philly, so we always got love for her. But I will definitely be watching South Carolina again because I want to see more of Malaysia Fulwiley and Ashlyn Watkins. And I don't know if Raven is a senior. Will she be back next year? So, yeah, Gordy, I don't. Tessa was real. Tessa came out of knob. I am unfamiliar with your game, and I apologize. But it was a great game. They figured out how to contain Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark still had 30. Don't get it twisted. It ain't like because, well, you got to look at that first half. Caitlin Clark was on fire. She was red hot. And then slowly but surely, they battled back. South Carolina battled back, and they won that game in the second half. Defense. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. They contained her in that second half. And I'll credit LSU for this. LSU's critical mistake was they waited way too long to put Flau'jae Johnson guarding Caitlin Clark. They did that in the fourth quarter, and by then, Iowa had it in cruise control. If they would have put Flau'jae Johnson on Caitlin Clark the whole game, it may have been a different outcome. And Raven, her shot is not as good as Flau'jae Johnson's, but Raven, the speed matches, the quickness matches, and they can hang with Caitlin Clark a little bit better. Haley Van Lith can hang with Caitlin Clark. Haley Van Lith was just giving up too much size. Caitlin Clark is 6 foot. Haley Van Lith was what, 5'9"? They were giving like, she's got the speed, but she just didn't have the height. And they abused it. And Kim Mulkey waited way too late to make that switch. Way too late. And I thought it was a stroke of genius. What's her name? Chloe, is it Chloe Kitts? She came in, and they had her and Cardoso down on the block. So they had 6'3" and 6'7" down on the blocks. So that's great coaching. That's phenomenal coaching by Dawn Staley. I'm looking at the stats right now. Like, oh, I hate this. Hold on. There we go. Let me see. I'm looking at the stats right now. For Iowa, Hannah Stokey only had 3 rebounds. Caitlin Clark led Iowa in rebound. Like, that can't happen because she's not really crashing the board. She's getting those hustle rebounds. So, yeah, 51-29. And Camila Cardoso had 17 rebounds. I was right. She was 15 and 17 for a double-double. Tessa Johnson had 4 rebounds and a steal. Raven Johnson had 4 steals and 2 blocks. Defense won that game for South Carolina. Defense did it. And the one thing I said when Iowa beat LSU, when Iowa is making their shots, when a Folter, Stolke, Marshall, and Martin are making their shots, they got a chance. Marshall only had 6 points, but a Folter had 12 and Kmart had 16. Nobody on the bench for Iowa scored. No points off the bench. South Carolina, Ashlyn Watkins had 3 points. Fagan had 6 points. The only person that didn't score was Walker. For Wiley had 9 points and 4 assists. Tessa Johnson had 19. Tessa Johnson was the leading scorer off the bench. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. Iowa did not make their shots. When Iowa played LSU, everybody was making their shots, and LSU couldn't catch up. This game, Dawn Staley put that defense on them, and they had no answer for it. When they kept catching up, South Carolina would pull away, with the exception of that first quarter. Iowa won that first quarter 27-20. And then South Carolina won the second quarter 29-19. So it was only a 1-point game at halftime. Then they won. South Carolina won the second, third, and fourth quarter. So they took it to them. And it was it was excellent. It was an excellent game. Iowa had some runs where they made it a 1-possession game, but they just could not get over that hump because the defense. South Carolina's defense won that game. So right now, this is we got some good love for lunch. We got 9 people on YouTube's, 4 people on Facebook, and we got 43 people on Twitter. If you are on Twitter or on Facebook right now, please, before you get up out of here, do me a solid. Find my channel on YouTube and give me that subscribe on YouTube. That helps me out a lot, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm grinding and growing every day, so I appreciate you guys. But now, my question is to a little bit more what we started early. What is Iowa going to do next year? And I'm saying that from Dawn Staley. They already announced, like right before the national championship game, that they had signed this girl. I'm gonna look up her name. Um, South Carolina signs. I think her name is Jalen McCrary. Is that it? Or is that no, Joyce Edwards. Joyce Edwards. So that's the new signee that's coming next year. B Bean, you were 100%. Iowa had no bench. And they had nobody scored off the bench and it killed them. Would the best players want to play for Iowa? I don't know. That's the thing. Who's coming in next? Who Lisa Bluter is getting in next? Because there's something to be said. They'd have been smart to do their recruiting while Caitlin Clark was still there. Because somebody has to come in and shoot that rock. I think the best thing they can do for next year, Hannah Hoki's got to get in the gym and she's got to get her handles together. If Hannah Stalky gets a little bit better dribbling and can create her own shot, Hannah Stokey is going to be really, really good because she can play down low, but somebody has to feed her the ball. She has to be able to make her own shot. And they got to bring somebody else in because they got to have somebody to because it would suck for next year. They don't even make the tournament or just the level of play goes down because Caitlin Clark is gone. They got to get, you might not have another shooter that's going to shoot the lights out like Caitlin Clark, but you can find another good shooter. That can be done. So, and Lisa Bluter is not a bad coach. So they'll get somebody at Iowa. They'll definitely get somebody at Iowa. And not for nothing, Caitlin Clark gonna be helping them out with recruiting and stuff like that. That ain't going nowhere. She a booster now. So that ain't going nowhere. So we'll see what's gonna happen. Yeah, man. That's what happened last night. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. And you could tell Dawn Staley was getting mad at them refs early because some of them calls, they was ticky-tack, but props to the refs. They stayed consistent all game. They was calling ticky-tack BS on both sides. So as long as it was even, it wasn't too one-sided. So we'll see what happens. But I am very interested to see what Iowa's going to do next and who they have coming that's going to replace Caitlin Clark. So we'll see. And Caitlin Clark's impact on the game. I'm telling you right now, I'll be watching the WNBA next year. I'll watch the draft. And that's what the WNBA needs. WNBA needs people like me. Because I didn't give a damn about the WNBA last year. The only time I watched the WNBA was when Kelsey Mitchell got to Indiana. And the only reason I watched Kelsey Mitchell is because her father is my frat brother and one of my teammates. That's why I started watching Kelsey Mitchell because it was a personal thing. This is a homegirl. Her dad is somebody that I know. He was a friend of mine. Rest in peace, Big Mark. So I was invested from that standpoint. If that didn't exist, I wouldn't have watched her. That's just being honest. But I couldn't tell you, other than Kelsey Mitchell, other than the names that everybody knows, other than Kelsey Mitchell, other than Lisa Leslie and the people that had already gone, had been in and out. Rebecca Lobo. I knew Kelsey Mitchell, Diana Taurasi, and I'm struggling to think of other names just like right off the bat. Because I can't do that yet. I can do that in the women's college game. because I was invested this year. And that's what the WNBA needs. I will be invested in the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark, because of Camila Cardoso, and all the girls I've been watching this year. The WNBA needs me because I didn't give a damn about them last year. Now they have somebody that I want to watch, and I will be actively watching. The Las Vegas Aces sold out of season tickets. They did what they had to do. And Indiana, if they didn't sell out, they got to be close. And everywhere Caitlin Clark plays, they're going to sell out. And I'm trying to find. I'm working on a video right now because I want to look at what the WNBA's revenue is now, and then I want to come back and revisit this at the end of the year, and let's see how the money went, because it's definitely going to go up. And if the WNBA plays their cards right, everybody is going to eat off of Caitlin Clark. All you got to do is let that girl do what she does. That's it. And all of the other stuff that they got going on, all of this bitterness and all of this other stuff that's coming, and it seems like it's coming from current players. And it's like, the WNBA they got to learn how to play the game. And it's going to be political and it's going to suck for some people. But in the long run, in the macro, everybody's going to eat because it's going to raise the revenue for the entire league. And what you have to do is you have to keep that up at a consistent level. And once it gets to a certain point, then you start paying the players more money. Then you start bringing in more endorsement deals, which makes you pay the players more money. It all goes to that pot, and you start making more money. So if the highest player is making $275, what's the average making? Will it get to a point where the average salary is $250, not just the max players? That's where you want to get to, where the average is around 200 and 250, and then you have some other players around the 500 level. Now you're talking about people making money. Then the incentives gets there. Then you really got people clamoring to get to this league because now you got a viable financial future, all of that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, it all gonna come down to money. It always comes down to money. That's why the XFL and now the USFL and the UFL, that combined league, that's why that's doing so, because now they're getting good players. You're going to always have people that want to play. But the fact that you pay them pretty damn good money makes it even better, because now you're going to have people with skills that want to get involved. So I'm looking forward to it. I am going to be invested. And again, WNBA, y'all need people like me. You already got a fan base. It's just not a very big fan base. You can't compare numbers that how good your game is growing as opposed to what it was 20 years ago. When if you look at it, the growth isn't that much because it wasn't that much 20 years ago. So by comparison, yes, you've grown, but in the big scheme of things, how much have you gone up? You have a real opportunity to take it into the stratosphere, to take it to the legit next level, TV revenue, all of that kind of stuff. You might even want to take a page out of what Live Golf was doing. Everybody laughed at Live Golf. They still around, coming on YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. The social media thing is where it's at right now, and you got to understand that landscape. Angel Reese got how many subscribers on her TikTok and Instagram and all of that kind of stuff? That's where you bring in the viewers. The Rock ain't stupid. The Brahmas and the UFL signed that kid Destroying with 5.1 million subscribers on YouTube. If they get 2% of his fan base to watch the games, that's a win. That's a win. So the WNBA's marketing team better be on point, and they better be on their grind like yesterday, because they have a unique opportunity. They got a golden goose that's walking into their arenas, and they got to treat that goose right, because Caitlin Clark is going to make everybody a lot of money if they play their cards right. They got promoters. They got all of them people. They just got to do it the right way. And here's the thing that really nobody, I said it earlier, they're going to have to play the game. They're going to have to play a little bit of politics. Because when you get successful to a certain degree, you got to play the game. And it's going to suck for some people. But in the long run, the game is going to grow. So we'll see what they do. All of this, they got to find a way to shut down all of these stories about the abuse and the gay players not liking the straight players and all that. They got to figure out a way how to put all of that stuff down. And the only way they can do it is if they play good ball and they get a good positive outlook from somebody like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, all of these girls coming out. They have a perfect opportunity right now, and they better take advantage of it. So I'm gonna get out of here, man. This was a phenomenal stream. For those of you who are new here, this is my live at lunch. I get started about 12:10. I get done right about now at 10 to 1. Gives you plenty of time to wash your hands, finish your sandwich, and get back to it. So I will be back on tonight. I got my 9:30 stream. So I look forward to seeing all my international people, all my folks from Venezuela and the Philippines and everything. And I will be getting you guys an updated schedule because I will be streaming when my nephew plays in Australia. That was fun the other day, and I'm definitely going to do that again. But I'm going to get out of here, get back to work. I appreciate you guys. Jason, B Bean, some new guys in the chat. I appreciate you. Don't be a stranger. Please come back. Hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. Let me know where you're coming in from. I appreciate you, Cody K, as always. Dwight and Gordy, Reginald Grant, my man Forey Duckett, my frat brother Dennis Grant on the Facebooks. William, I appreciate you guys, and we're gonna keep doing this thing, man. All right. Jabril Gilbert, I appreciate you, bro. What was that? Move Media? James Monsanto is always in the building, man. I appreciate y'all. Chris Bruce. Keep doing that thing, man, and keep supporting, man. I appreciate you to no end. I'm gonna get up out of here, get back to work, and I will see you guys tonight, 9:30. We still streaming. Holla at you later. Go Birds.